I might start just with my intro, and then people can join as the meeting goes on. I'm going to share a presentation with you guys as well. So if you want to have a pen and paper to hand, that would be fantastic. You might want to take some notes down. There's a few slides here. I tend to talk quite quickly. So as I'm talking, if you're not understanding anything, jot down the questions and I will ask at the end, then I'll leave it open. So hopefully I will have finished my kind of presentation to you within about 20 minutes, and then you're free to ask me whatever questions you want. If you don't want to come off, I'll put everyone off mute then, and if you want to ask questions vocally, great. If you just want to put them into the chat, then that's great as well. Okay, thanks, Mil. Okay, so you're all muted, but you're allowed to unmute yourself, so feel free if you want to do that as well, okay? I'm going to share my screen with you now and just give you this presentation. Okay, so Rachel Young, first of all, to introduce myself, for those of you who haven't met me in Iconic already, Rachel Young's my name. I'm a nutrition and health coach, and I work with people on a one-to-one setting, and I also work with groups like Iconic offices doing corporate talks. With Iconic in particular, I've done lots of lunch and learns in there, which have been fantastic on different topics. So I hope today, if you're lucky enough to be able to work from home at the moment, this is maybe your lunch break, you're taking a bit of time out, sitting, enjoying some food as I'm talking. So enjoy that. I work with individuals as well, as I said. So in regards to that, I just wanted to kind of point out what nutrition is as well, right? So today I'm going to focus on looking at immune health, okay, for, broad level humans in general, what we need to do to support our immune health on an ongoing basis. I use the word support here. A lot of people say, what should I do to boost my immunity? So our immunity is literally what keeps us alive, okay? So we have been, obviously, if we're lucky enough to get to the position of being here today watching this, we've done well in relation to supporting our immunity to keeping us alive, okay? So it's about knowing what we need to continuously do and do well to support that to its best level, if that makes sense. So I don't like to use the word boost, because boost basically is like, everything in moderation to me. I don't like the word moderation either, because some things should not be done in moderation, okay? It's about balance. To focus on the word support rather than boost, okay? So the main things that do that are looking after our gut health. This is kind of, I suppose, the premise of what I'm going to talk around today. Our gut health, where is that? Vitamins and minerals that support our immunity. Sleep, hugely important, okay? Stress and exercise, okay? So all the last two have both a negative and a positive impact in relation to our immunity, okay? Okay, so back to kind of what I do with people and nutrition. So a lot of people are confused around, the word nutrition. What does it mean? What is it? What food do you eat, Rachel? Tell me what you eat and I'll just eat that. No. Okay, if only life were that easy, eh? So nutrition is food and you. We are all different. Everybody is different, okay? So that's the level that everybody needs to start on when you need to look at your own food and nutrition. Who are you? What are your personal circumstances? What's your lifestyle like? What age are you? What sex are you? Etc. That is a huge bearing on the foods that you should be eating. So just always be mindful of that, okay? So in regards to one-on-one work with myself, that's the holistic picture you get, okay? Because there's no one plan fits all. Here you go. Here's a 6-week program. Off you go. And you'll feel amazing after this, okay? It doesn't happen like that. Again, I just kind of like to give a little bit of a backstory as to what I mean by Eat Food Right. That's my business name. And really, when I started working with people on an individual level, I really start to learn how actually it's not often the what that people eat that has an impact on how they feel. It's the other things around that. It's the why, when, where, and how people eat have a huge bearing on the impact of what we eat. So just to give you the quick 30 seconds on this, or probably be 60 seconds, what do I mean? Okay, so look at when you're eating, okay? Are you eating 3 meals a day because you're hungry? Or are you eating just because you're bored? A lot of people at the moment are just going to the fridge out of boredom. Make sure that you've got a routine in place. Routine is key for this. You need to plan, prepare, and schedule times to eat. A lot of people struggle actually with remembering to eat, something I've never done. Don't know what that feeling is like. But some people say, I forgot to eat, okay? Would never happen to me because I've got myself into a routine and a program. My body knows it's time for food, okay? Your body should recognize hunger, okay? So try, if it's not recognizing hunger, try and get it into a schedule of doing that. Intermittent fasting, bit of a scary word there, fasting, okay? All this literally means is giving our bodies a break from eating, okay? What does that mean? For most people, this is really doable for a 12-hour period. So if you have your dinner at 8 o'clock at night, you don't have your breakfast then till 8 the next morning. That's a 12-hour period whereby your cells have been allowed time, and your digestion and your hormones, to basically reset and cleanse themselves, okay? And it just gives your body a break from working, basically, okay? So it's a really good thing. Now, I won't go into it now, but there are many ways you can push this out. You can go longer periods for not eating, etc. And personally, the 12-hour for me works really well, and it's a good premise for most people to start on. Okay. Practice creates consistency and new habits that become routine, hugely important. So I know at the moment, a lot of people are struggling with planning and preparing food at home. They've never done this before. They've always eaten out. So you just need to get into a routine of saying, well, my breakfast is at 9, my lunch is at 1, etc. New habits then form, and that becomes a routine. Hopefully you could carry that routine maybe forward when we are getting back out into a setting of normal lives, etc., into the working world, into the office setting, that you're used to preparing your food at home. You found it beneficial, you've enjoyed it, and now you just bring that with you. How do you eat? Do you take the time to sit and eat? Chew your food? Do you put your phones away? Mindfully eat, basically, is the synopsis here, okay? So when you're eating, you should just be doing that, okay? Eating with people is hugely beneficial as well. A lot of us at the moment are at home, living by ourselves. We can't be communicating with people on a physical level at the moment, and we might have been used to doing that and missed that. What I'd suggest around that at the moment is, if you can, have a Skype call, FaceTime, Zoom, whatever it is, with colleagues, friends, family at that time that you're eating, if that helps you to relax and enjoy your food, okay? Where do you eat? I use the French paradox here, okay? If anyone's ever been to France in a work setting, or even not, in general day-to-day life, they're a great nation for stopping, taking time out and having lunch, typically for an hour and a half, 12 to 1:30. They go to their canteens, they generally leave the work building, they might have a glass of wine, they might have some cheese, they do all of these things, okay, which, you know, in other countries would deem to be, you know, not acceptable at lunchtime, but yet they're seen as one of the most healthiest populations in the world. You know, there's studies into this now, and it's because of the setting and the environment that they're enjoying their food in. They do the same for dinner in the evenings with their family and friends as well, okay? So the environment that we eat in has a huge impact on how our body absorbs and digests food. So just remember that. So again, when you're back in the work setting, you know, you might be having your lunch at your desk. There could be 3 people around you that are on stressful calls that stresses you out. You know, your body can't digest properly when it's in a state of stress. It needs to be relaxed, okay? So even deep breathing, take a few deep breaths before you eat your meal to set you into that relaxed state can really help. Why we eat, the big one, okay? Taste is one of the big drivers. Hunger is another one. But the main driver, and I'm not going to get into this today because it's quite scientific, but it is the key to why we eat, is our hormones. So when people say to me, I really struggle with my motivation, I really struggle with my mindset, I'm going to talk about gut health now in a minute, and you're going to learn that your gut actually is your first brain, okay? Your gut health is where your probiotics are. This is what speaks to our brain, which is what we know as previously was our number 1 brain. So in order for our gut health to be really healthy, we need to be feeding it well, okay? This balance and regulates it can balance and regulate all of our hormones, which then speaks to this brain up here really, really well. And then basically once you get into a cycle of doing that correctly, the talk that your gut is giving here is just really good because you're feeding yourself with whole foods really well. So the whole motivation and mindset is nearly secondary because it just becomes natural and routine for you now. And then the last thing, and we're going to talk about this as well today, is food combining, and that is eating proteins, carbs, and fats at every meal, okay? And I'm going to go into those in more detail now. Okay, in an ideal world, particularly for your immune health, okay, your meal plate should look like this. It should be 40, I would say 50, sometimes percent veg, and then 10% fruit. Why less fruit? Fruit is more sugar in it, more fructose, okay? You should have a healthy portion of grains, up to 10%, healthy fats, protein, and then your micronutrients. So what I say to people is, this is just an example for you to visualize, but when you're looking at each meal that you eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you should be looking at what micronutrients are on this plate for me. That's what you should be thinking about, okay? Of course, taste and satisfaction has to be there, and are those boxes being ticked? But the why of why we eat is food is information for our cells that keep us living, literally. So you kind of need to treat it like that. That's what it does to our body. So when you look at your plate, ask yourself that question: how is this food keeping me alive? What are the micronutrients in it that are keeping me alive? Okay. So in relation to that, when I'm working with people, I focus on portion sizes, not calories, okay? When we get really bogged down in measuring things like calories, like the steps that we take, these are all really good that we know that we're, have accountability. So it is good to be able to educate ourselves around those things. If you want to educate yourselves on the calories and X, Y, and Z, fantastic. But I don't believe that tracking these things is necessary for us. Once we are properly aware and educated around why we're eating those things, okay? So using myself as an example, I would eat a lot of healthy fats. I'm going to give you examples now of portion sizes, and I know from myself personally, the portion sizes of most of my meals of the healthy fats that I eat are more than that. But those healthy fats are really good for me. They're higher in calories. I'm not so concerned about that because I know the benefits that those healthy fats are putting into my body, okay? So in relation to calories, you cannot compare like a bowl of broccoli to the calories in a bowl of biscuits, etc. It is not like for like. So think about the micronutrients in the food that you're eating, not the calories. Protein, fats, and carbs are our macronutrients. There are 9 essential protein amino acids, and there are 2 essential fatty acids, okay? There are no essential carbohydrates. What does this mean? Okay, this means basically that our body cannot make 9 essential amino acids. It cannot make 2 essential fatty acids, okay? It can make and utilize all of the carbs that we need within our body, the glucose, to keep us going, okay? So there are some proteins that we need to eat to put into ourselves to be able to function, to stay alive. The same with the fats, okay? The fats in particular, because a lot of people are lacking these, are omega-3s and omega-6s. We tend to get enough of the omega-6s from refined foods and from things like our sunflower oils, etc., and nuts and seeds. Omega-3s, a lot of people can lacking in these. Where do we get these? We get them in oily fishes. We also get them in nuts and seeds as well, okay? Key stat here that I always like to throw out, because it gets people focusing on eating healthier fats more of them, and not really thinking about them as a negative, bad word. Fat, is a good word, okay, in this context. And 75% of our brain is fat now. So this up here, second brain that we want to feed really well from the gut up to here, is 75% fat. Unless we are consuming good fats, we're not feeding that brain well, okay? Also, each and every one of our cells in our body are protected by a layer of fat. You don't put fat into your body, you're not protecting your cells, okay? Carbs. When I'm looking at carbohydrates with people that I work with, I look in the whole grain spectrum and the whole food spectrum. What do I mean by that? Okay, that means typically unrefined and fibrous. So when you're looking at your plate with your carbohydrate on it, you should be thinking, what fiber is in this carb for me? Because that's where we only get fiber from carbohydrates. Okay. What do you drink? Big one here. Okay. Caffeine and alcohol. So just 2 points on both of those, okay? Both affect your sleep, okay? Both are stimulants. Alcohol affects your REM sleep. What does that mean? So sleep, as we know now, is a huge impact in relation to our immune health. Our REM sleep is the stage, we go into cycles of sleep, and it's the stage that we go into for a 90-minute cycle. Typically, a human might do 4 or 5 cycles of those in a sleeping night, okay? It is the stage of sleep that allows us to basically, it's the dreaming stage, clear out all of the clutter from our brain that's happened in the day previous. It's the stage that you need, that when you wake up the next morning, you go, I feel refreshed. That means you've had proper REM sleep. Alcohol suppresses that. It does not, no matter how much you drink, whether that be 1, 2, 12, whatever it is, alcohol suppresses that dreaming state. This is proven, okay? So just bear that in mind when you're having your alcohol. You're having your few drinks. The reason you feel tired and all the other things the next day and craving the foods and all that is because you did not have the proper sleep. Yes, alcohol is a toxin and a poison, but it has a huge impact on sleep, and that's one of the reasons, okay? Caffeine. Caffeine has a half-life, okay? What do I mean by this? Basically, if you have coffee at 1 o'clock today, 6 hours later, half of that caffeine is still in your system. That's at 7 p.m. Amy, do you mind just going on mute there, please? I can just hear a bit of background noise. Thank you. 6 hours later, 7 p.m., half of that caffeine from the coffee is still in your system, okay? Another 6 hours later, so 6 hours from 7 p.m., which is 1 a.m., half is still in your, it's not depleted until then, okay? So that's why some people struggle falling to sleep, is because there is still caffeine in their system from 10 p.m. on, etc. in that example. So just be mindful of that, okay? So if you're having an espresso after your dinner at 8 o'clock at night, okay, that caffeine has not left your system until 8 the next morning, okay? Focus on eating food, not formulations. Look at the ingredients, okay? Key here. I'm going to give you one example in a minute. I could give you a bucket load, but I really urge people to look at the ingredients and the things that you buy. In an ideal world, we should be buying things that don't have any packaging and just one ingredient. But if you're buying something that's packaged and you look at the back, okay, basically you will see on that they're the list of ingredients, okay? That's the truth of what is in that product. The label can tell a different story, okay? Listen to your body. It knows you the best. So if you feel, after you eat something, this isn't sitting well with me, maybe your body just is intolerant to it. So listen to that. Be diet agnostic. I like to use that word. Avoid extremes. So, if you are thinking, I'm going to go vegan tomorrow, and currently you're eating 3 healthy portions of meat a day at every meal, and all of a sudden then for the next week you go off meat completely, that's a shock to your system, and our bodies don't like to be shocked, okay? So ease into things and ease out of things. Here's the example for you. This is described as an oat and honey bar. If you look at the ingredients, you will see first ingredient is oats, second is sugar, and then further down, after sunflower oil, is honey at 2%. So in actual fact, that's an oat and sugar bar, but they've just labeled it in a different way to get you to buy it. Okay, on to our immune health. So 80% of our immunity lives in our gut. Where is our gut? Your gut is in your large intestine. Another word for that is your colon, your bowel, okay? So this is basically where when we eat food, it goes into our stomach, it sits there for a while. We'll digest most of our food in our small intestine. Apart from fiber, we do not digest this, and it goes to our large intestine, okay? Our gut typically sits there for a while, and then it's excreted out, okay? Fiber is the main thing here that feeds our gut, okay, because we don't digest it, right? So things that feed your immune health and your immunity really well are fiber. So you'll find that people ask this question often, where do I find fiber? And initially I was a bit shocked. I was like, people don't know where to find fiber. Okay, actually we're eating like a surprisingly low level of fiber at the moment globally, okay? So this really needs to be increased. Where do you find it predominantly? Fruit and vegetables, okay? It's in the skin of fruit, it's in the fruit, it's in vegetables. You'll find it in your whole grains as well, okay? Resistant starches. What are these? These are our fibers, whole grains that are left to cool and then eaten cold. Okay, I'll give you an example. It's a bit of a hard one to get your head around, right? Google it later and you'll find out loads of examples. So if you take your little baby potato, you cook it tonight for your dinner and you eat it hot. You have some left over. You put them in the fridge. You take them out tomorrow and you decide you're going to have a baby potato cold salad. You cut the potato in the middle and you'll see that little gooey bit of starch in the middle, okay? That's your resistant starch. So more of the fiber from the potato has turned into a crystallized resistant starch. So you're basically getting a carb still, but you're nearly getting a double hit of fiber in that baby potato, if that makes sense. The key is you don't reheat them, okay? You need to eat it cold. Other examples would be your whole grain pasta, your brown basmati rice as well, all left cold, okay? Prebiotics. This is food for our gut, okay? It's a fancy word basically for fiber, fermented foods, your leeks, your garlics, asparagus, all of those things are prebiotics. And really what they have in them is fiber, okay? So it's feeding your gut bacteria. just a word on that as well. Our gut bacteria is our probiotics, okay? So people often ask, do I need to take a probiotic? You only need to take a probiotic if you feel that your gut has had an impact on it. So for example, an antibiotic is going to clear out a lot of your good gut probiotics, okay? So in that instance, then yes, to repopulate your own probiotics is a good idea, but on a whole, generally, no. We just need to support it with eating prebiotic foods, okay? Vitamins and minerals that are really good for our immune health are vitamins A, C, D, and E. So I'm going to give you just a few examples. You can Google all of these as well. So vitamin A, where does it come from? So think beta-carotene, think orange, your butternut squash, your carrots, your oranges, vitamin A, okay? Vitamin C, think the rainbow of fruit and vegetables, it's in them, and green leafy veg as well. Vitamin D, sunshine when we get it, get out, get a little bit in your face. You'll also find it in mushrooms, you'll find it in nuts and seeds, you'll find it in tinned fish as well. Tinned oily fish like sardines, mackerel, etc. Anchovies too. Vitamin E, really good for the skin. You'll find it in your pumpkin seeds, nuts and seeds as well. Turmeric and garlic and ginger are anti-inflammatory foods. I'm going to talk a little bit around that now in a second as well. So anything that's anti-inflammatory is good for our gut health. A lot of people would have an inflamed gut quite often. So eating anti-inflammatory foods and removing inflammatory foods, which I'm going to talk about in a sec, can really help that, okay? Selenium and zinc are trace minerals. And they're really good for your immunity too. You'll find zinc in seafood, you will find it in your nuts and seeds, you'll find selenium in Brazil nuts, chicken, turkey, you'll find zinc in red meat as well, okay? Anti-inflammatory and inflammatory, okay? Typically the foods that inflame our gut, therefore are going to have an impact on our immune health, are alcohol, sugar, dairy, and gluten, okay? So a lot of those, some people would eat daily, okay? So just have a think about that. If you're thinking my immunity is down at the moment or my gut feels inflamed, are you eating a lot of inflammatory foods? If you are, maybe try to alleviate them and eat some of the anti-inflammatory. So anti-inflammatory again, turmeric, garlic, ginger, really good. And your oily fish as well. So your omega-3s is really good for anti-inflammatory too. Okay, just a word on stress and a word on exercise. Both can be good and bad for our immune health. Okay, stress on the good side, we all need a little bit to keep us, get us up in the morning, keep us positive, focused. But we can have too much in our lives and we can be, in that fight or flight, chased by the lion situation. To try and stop that happening from us, what I would say to you is think about, I use the analogy, win. What's important now? Live in the present, okay? If you can. I know it's really hard at the moment. If now more than ever, we've been thrown into the present, right? We don't know what tomorrow will bring. So try and take lessons from this and stay in it, okay? And not think past right now if you can. Exercise, also really good for you. Really good, hormones get released and it balances out things in the body, but equally, over-exercising has a negative impact on our immune health as well, okay? It stresses our body out basically, so just be mindful of that. Your circadian rhythm, not going to go into it in too much detail now, but check it out. If you're not aware what it is, it basically means the rhythm that every human body is set into. As a human, we are all set into this one rhythm, okay? It doesn't matter who you are. This is the cycle of our day that we should be on. A lot of us, just because of routine, bad habits, etc., are out of this cycle. If you struggle with your sleep, getting yourself into this cycle is the best thing that you can do to correct your sleep, to get better sleep, okay? Sleep is your superpower. Why do I say that, okay? I'm a huge advocate of eating really good food. For those of you that will know me will know that. However, if you are not getting a good night's sleep, the food choices that you make can be hugely impacted. So what I say now actually is correct sleep first. Sleep has to be corrected first in order for everything else to just basically be other pieces of the jigsaw puzzle that will naturally fit in better, okay? It's free to all of us. We all have equal access to it, okay? I know some of our circumstances are different. We might have kids that wake us up in the middle of the night, whatever the situation may be, okay? But there are ways around that, and you need to prioritize your sleep and set a routine that you get good sleep. Have a bedtime, really important. Just like you might have a get up time, have a go to bed time. It's a skill, like any habit that we have, okay? You need to practice it. Practice makes progress, I like to say, rather than perfect, because what is perfect, right? Aim for progress, okay? In order to get a good night's sleep, these are my top tips. Brain dump 2 hours before you go to bed. What I say in regards to that is write down, pen to paper. Pen to paper is known as like the best way for clearing our head on things, okay? 2 hours before bed, because it's a nice window for you then to have, let it out to the world, literally. Let your thoughts out on paper to the world, and it gives you time to wind down properly. No tech 90. This is really hard for some people, but our technology, particularly the ones with the blue light on them, such as our phone, our laptops, etc., keep us awake. Blue light keeps you awake. You'll find it now in a lot of our cosmetic ranges that there's protection for our skin against the impact of blue light on our skin. So not UV light from the sun, blue light from technology, okay? This is one of the most important things you can do to try and correct your sleep at night. Put that phone away, stick it on airplane mode. If at all possible, out of the bedroom. You know, if you need it for an alarm, fine, have it away from your bed, away from your head. You know, do not be looking at it like just before you turn off the light. That's a big no-no in the world that I live in, okay? Have a nice wind down routine. You know, at the moment, we're not getting out and seeing people as much as we would like. So potentially, like, you know, if you're kind of struggling with that and finding it hard to wind down in the evening, you know, have things that might help you to do that. Is it take a bath? Is it read a book? Is it watch a movie? Is it do yoga, meditate, etc.? Okay. Your bedroom, key for your health of your sleep. Gadget free, I've just said about the phone. That means TV as well. That also means laptop, working in the beds, etc. Darkened room and a cold room, okay? Key as well, okay? Our body likes to be cold getting into bed at night, okay? Morning routine, get your morning sunlight in if you can. So that means allowing the sun into your eyes before 11 a.m. This regulates your circadian rhythm. And then after 11 a.m., that's when you put the sunglasses on to protect that UV light getting in, okay? Food, if you're struggling with sleep, there are some ways in relation to what you eat at night can help this, okay? So I'm just going to throw out a few examples of foods that have natural melatonin in them. So melatonin is our sleep hormone that naturally should be rising during the day. Some people actually don't have this natural rise due to things that they're doing daily in their environment. So ways to get around this: cherries are one example, and pistachio nuts are another, that have melatonin in them. And if you eat those with your evening meal in the evening, or as part of, it can help to naturally increase your melatonin levels as well. Another good example is combining your food, protein, carb, and fat together. You, in particular, by eating your protein and your carb together, you will get a natural serotonin boost, right? There's tryptophan in that protein mixed with the carbohydrate, gives you a serotonin boost. What is serotonin? That's our feel-good chemical. And some of that naturally then gets converted by our brains to melatonin, which helps us to sleep. So that's why sometimes after you have a big meal of protein, carbs, and fats, if you take your Christmas dinner as an example, and you feel tired and sluggish afterwards, you've got a huge boost to serotonin, some of which has been turned into melatonin. That is it from me. I hope you enjoyed that. There are my contact details. If anyone wants personal help or wanted me to do a group talk for them or their companies, please get in touch. You'll find all of my details on my website as well, which is eatfoodright.ie. Now over to you guys. If anyone has any questions for me, take yourselves off mute and please feel free. And I'm just going to stop sharing the screen now. Can you all see me again? How are you? So someone's in the chat. Hi, Ali. I'm just reading. Do you mind if I read this out, Ali? Okay. You're welcome. Thank you. Probiotics are really useful for stress and anxiety, lost your appetite. Yeah, okay. They do help, okay? What I would say to you in that, in just very broad level, Ali, okay? And please email me personally or, you know, send me a message on Instagram, whatever it is, right? Broadly, absolutely, stress and anxiety have a huge negative impact on our gut health, okay? Basically, stress just hurries everything up in our system. It increases everything, okay? It increases our stress hormone, cortisol, and that has a knock-on impact on everything in our system. So that's going to put your probiotics in your gut out of sync. So if they're out of sync, then yes, taking a probiotic can help that, okay? Thanks, Colin, you're welcome. Thanks, Charlene. Okay, anyone else, any questions? Hi, Rachel, another Rachel, you're very welcome. Hope you found it beneficial. You're welcome, Amy. Okay, if no one else has any questions, I might sign off and get my own bit of lunch in a nice relaxed setting and eat it mindfully. Anyone else? I'll just do a final shout out if anyone else, those either are still on. Thank you all for joining, giving me your time. You're very welcome, Leanne. I'm off to eat healthy. Good stuff. Thank you, guys. And as I said, if anyone wants to email me, it's rachel@eatfoodright.ie or send me a message. My phone number, all those details are on my Instagram and website as well. So please feel free. Have a lovely Wednesday afternoon, everyone. Get some sunshine and enjoy the day. Chat soon.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.